What's up and welcome back to the channel. I'm Devin and today I'm going to be asking the question, does camera gear really matter? Now what do I personally think? Well, of course it does, but also it kind of doesn't. Let me explain. This is a pretty popular topic. You can find tons of different YouTube videos of people discussing. Some people think that it really does matter. Other people think that the gear doesn't really matter at all. I'm just gonna give you guys my opinion. This is not me telling you that you should go and do anything. This is just my thoughts from my own experiences. So do with that information what you will. This video is gonna be broken into 3 parts. The first part is gonna be why it does matter, and we're gonna call that quality. The second part is gonna be why it does not matter, and we're gonna call that substance. And the final part is just gonna be the conclusion and how those two things work together. So part 1, why your gear does matter, aka quality. Now the main reason that the gear does matter is for, well, your quality. Now, of course, naturally, over time, you're going to get better gear, which is going to enhance your quality. But I think sometimes people get confused and they just think, oh, I need a better camera or a better lens and then I'll be all set. But when I say gear, it doesn't just end at the camera. In fact, it only really begins there. We're talking cameras, lenses, microphones, lighting, adapters, software, hardware. There's so many things that go into it that you will gradually pick up over time. Now, again, I know this seems very obvious, like, well, yeah, if you have better gear, you're gonna get better quality. But it doesn't just mean better quality as in better resolution and getting 4K or 6K or 8K. It's better audio, it's clearer pictures, it's, better frame rates. There's just so many things that go into the quality of it that don't just, boil down to having a good camera and a lens. Having better gear doesn't just mean better gear for your actual videos, but it also means that beyond that, you have a better overall workflow. So from setup to shooting to editing, everything just moves along faster and better as you improve your gear. And if you have a better workflow, that just allows you to get things done faster, you stress yourself out a little bit more, you're able to create more content and really focus on the things that you actually want to be doing. And the last reason that I think the gear does matter is because it gives you much more flexibility when making your videos. The more gear that you have access to, the more of a variety of things that you can make. You can have that prime lens to get the exact kind of background blur you want, or that light that you want that can now change color temperature or brightness, or a bunch of different types of microphones for every different situation. The more gear you have access to, like I said, the more versatile you can make your videos. You have access to do a lot more things. It's a lot more flexible, and you're not really like pigeonholing yourself into doing one specific style or one specific take or anything like that. Truth be told, when we're just starting out or when we don't have access to gear like that, I think a lot of times we may have some incredible or amazing ideas that we just can't quite bring to life because we don't have the gear to do it. You may have an idea for a short film or a YouTube video or a podcast or something, but you may not be ready or willing to start doing that because you don't have a good microphone or you don't have the best lighting or you're limited with the camera that you have or something like that. That's what I mean when I say you have a lot of flexibility as you gain more gear, because then you can do those things. You can try a bunch of different stuff. And like I said, you're not just limited to working with, a handful of different things. Now, I'm not saying that having a great idea needs great gear for it to come to life. You can definitely make some awesome videos and bring your ideas to fruition with just your cell phone and maybe a simple light. But again, I'm gonna go back to the word, you have that flexibility, you have that versatility when you have access to better gear, which, as I said again, is something that most likely is going to just improve for you over time. As time goes on, you'll start to collect more gear and you'll be much better off. Okay, I've told you why I think gear does matter, aka quality. Now I'm gonna do a 360 and tell you why I think gear doesn't matter, aka substance. The reason this section is called substance is because I ultimately believe that the substance of your content, what you're actually creating, the videos you're actually making, hold even more value than the quality of the video itself. You can have access to the best gear in the world. You could be on a Hollywood set, but if your ideas are not good, the content is not there, the substance is not there, then ultimately it doesn't matter what gear you have because it's still gonna be bad. It'll just be bad in 4K. There are plenty of people out there, successful people, who are using still entry-level stuff like just a smartphone camera or an entry-level camera or, some cheap lighting or something like that. And they have successful videos, and that's because at the end of the day, your content itself matters more than anything else. If you have great content, you can accept and get away with having poor quality. I actually think that starting out with low-level gear or no real gear at all is an essential part of the process. The reason I believe that is because the less gear you have to work with, the more that you're actually forced to be creative, the more that you have to do more with less. You have to start really thinking outside of the box, like, okay, all I have is my cell phone and a ring light. How can I make this short film that I have that's been buzzing around my head and I think will be amazing? It really makes you tap into your creativity and create some awesome stuff, like I said, with just the gear that you have. And if you can do that right out of the gate, your gear is going to improve along the way. It's almost like a foregone conclusion. If you stick to it and you're making good content, along the way, you will get better gear, which means your quality will go up and your substance was already there, and that's gonna just improve and everything will be overall great. At the end of the day, I personally believe that you are way better off with some great ideas and bad equipment than you are with great gear and bad ideas. All right, so I've told you why I think that gear does matter. I've told you why I think it doesn't matter. So what can we conclude from all this? Well, like I said in the beginning, I think on one hand it does matter, and on another hand it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you're going to need gear at some level, and you're going to need ideas that are good ideas. And if you have good ideas and you work at it and you just stick with it, then eventually your gear will get better, and both of those things are going to start to improve at your own pace, and you'll be just fine. I think a lot of people get overwhelmed and intimidated by the thought of having to have, all this crazy gear and dumping all this money into it. And while I do believe that along the way that will happen, right out of the gate, I think you should just make content. If your ideas are there, if you have good ideas, no matter what gear you're using, you're gonna be just fine. I have this saying I say all the time, and it is just stay the course. If you just stay the course and you're committed to whatever you wanna do or create, you will ultimately get to where you wanna go. There's plenty of good free editing software. We probably all have a smartphone in our pocket, and you can find some kind of good lighting, whether it's a bathroom light or a ring light or whatever the case is. Like, you really probably already have everything you need to, at the very least, get started. So that's it for today's video, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you think gear definitely matters? Do you think it does not matter? Or are you kind of in the middle like I am? Let me know. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't yet. And as always, I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.